Welcome back to Newsday. The concerned PDP League is one of the vested groups in Nigeria's main opposition party, are right now, holding a world press conference titled Silent No More, putting the record straight on the issue of the party's national secretary and related matters. We are now taking some minutes to join our crew there in Abuja to follow the proceedings. Do stay tuned.
The misinterpretation and misrepresentation of the PDP constitution by the National Legal Advisor, Honorable Kamaluddin Ajibade SAN, and the disregard for the party constitution by the suspended BOT chairman, Senator Adolfo Swabara, as regards the national secretary position and the authentic national secretary of our great party, the People's Democratic Party. Before we dive into the self-serving and cowardice actions of the above-mentioned members of our great party, let us first put the record straight as regards the genesis of the tussle for the national secretary position and who is the authentic national secretary of the People's Democratic Party, which is the most important issue presently. It all started when the national secretary, most distinguished Senator Samuel Nnameka Anyanwu, declared his intention to serve the good people of Imo State. He declared his intention to serve the good people of Imo State. He contested the PDP Imo State governorship primaries and won. Then, having emerged as the PDP gubernatorial candidate in Imo State and in preparation for the campaign, he took his annual leave between 18th April and 24th May 2023 to enable him concentrate on ensuring PDP victory at the gubernatorial election. A letter was sent to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to notify them and that the Deputy National Secretary will act during this period. I just want to, before I continue reading, I want to make it very clear that some persons, people like Ogochiere, the suspended or expelled member of our party, and some other persons have claimed that the national chairman wrote a resignation letter. I want to present it to Nigerians and the world to see that Senator Anyanwu did not write any resignation letter. This is the letter written to INEC as he was proceeding on his annual leave to allow the Deputy National Secretary, as is written in our Constitution, in the succession process in Section 33, for the Deputy National Secretary to act pending when he resumes back from his leave. This is a letter as against the narrative being carried by some people that Anyanwu wrote a resignation letter. There was no resignation letter to that effect. He only wrote a letter of notifying INEC that is going on leave. The letter is not signed by, it's signed by Senator Anyanwu and the national chairman, introducing the Deputy National Secretary as acting secretary. Let me continue reading, just to make this clear. But due to inordinate interest, pressure was mounted on the National Secretary, most distinguished Senator Samuel Nnameka Anyanwu, to resign, which he politely refused. His refusal to resign is in consonance with Section 47(5) of the PDP Constitution as amended in 2017. I just don't want to cite it. I want to read the section because it is so unfortunate that people that are considered to be learned will go about misinterpret the Constitution, carry narrative just to destabilize the only party we have in this country. It is unfortunate, and that's why I don't want to just quote it, but I want to read it so party faithful and Nigerians will see that yes, there is nothing like that in what they are claiming. Please permit me to read Section 47(5) of the PDP Constitution. Section 47(5), sorry. Yes, look at this section 47.5, which reads, any officer elected into the national committee of the party at any level may resign. That is the word used in our constitution. And deceivers who go about carrying may resign, not shall resign. It is discretional. And they said, Anya will have to resign. That may resign his or her office by giving 30 days notice in writing to the appropriate executive committee. That is what our constitution said, that you may resign, not you shall resign. Now, the section they are manipulating is that except in the case of resignation for the purpose of vying for elective office shall be effective within the period stipulated in the guideline. It is the guideline. The Constitution are giving 30 days. But the Constitution is saying in this section that if peradventure there is a guideline and the guideline says you should resign 2 months to the election, then go by that guideline for elective office. But they want to exploit that position, that second sentence of the paragraph, to cause confusion in the party. And it is high time we say we don't want to remain silent any longer, to allow people that claim to love PDP, that parade themselves as lovers of PDP, to go ahead carrying narrative, deceiving party faithfuls in Nigerians and abroad and Nigerians. We only have PDP. And that's why we said today we are going to expose those weeds in PDP. I'll continue reading. I just want to read that section, not just to cite it, for Nigerians and PDP faithful to see what some members of the party are doing to destroy the party. Let me continue my reading. In view of the call for the resignation of the National Secretary by a microscopic few, his supporters, in anticipation of an evil orchestration to remove the National Secretary, most distinguished Senator Samuel Inemeka Anyanwu, approached the Federal High Court Abuja Division to seek for an order restraining anyone who will want to unjustly remove him as the National Secretary, and that order was graciously granted by the Honorable Court, ably led by His Lordship, the Honorable Justice I.A. Ekwa, on the 9th of January 2024. As we speak today, that order was neither stayed nor appealed. By implication, that order is still unarguably subsisting. I don't just want to say, let me also show you the order. This is the order that was given by the court that nobody, no national officer should be removed unjustly. In this case, the National Secretary. This is the order given by the court. And I'll not just show you, I want to read the first paragraph of the order, which says, 1, a declaration that the first, second, and third and fourth defendant cannot arbitrarily remove any elected national officer of the first defendant without following laid down procedure in Article 47 of this Constitution, of the Constitution of the People's Democratic Party as amended in 2017. This is the order. And they will be carrying all sorts of rumor and lies and creating narrative to cause confusion in the party. This is the order. I want to continue. In October 2023, October 25th, 2023, misinformed by forged guideline and citing of mutilated section of the PDP Constitution, and Enugu High Court, led by Justice C.O. Aja, ignorantly ruled that an interim order is hereby granted as prayer. What was the prayer? The prayer was a motion on notice filed by one Nwabweze Ogo, urging the court to declare Anyawu's seat vacant due to his current position as a candidate in the next month's governorship election in Imo State. Now, I want to also go to the section, PDP Constitution. The Constitution, it is clearly stated in section 48(1), and I want to seek the permission of the gentlemen of the press to read that section, because we need to put an halt to this falsehood being perpetrated by Ogochiere and his co-travelers, by the PDP publicity secretary and his co-travelers. 47(1) says, subject to the provision of this Constitution, any member holding any office in the party at any level shall be deemed to have resigned that office if he or she assumes, the word there is assumes, any of the following offices: President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, now straight to the one that we are concerned with, Governor or Deputy Governor of a state. The question is, was Anyanwu or did Anyanwu assume the position of the Governor of Imo State? Who is the Governor of Imo State today? Based on this section, you will not leave or vacate your office if you become the candidate of the party in any election. And I'll give 2 instances. The present Deputy National Publicity Secretary of PDP went to his home state of Kebbi to contest as governor. He lost the election and came back. Also, the immediate past national treasurer of our great party went to his home state of Ekiti, contested, lost, and came back to resume his duty then. And of most recent, and I'm calling on the governor to speak out if he truly loves PDP. He was the state chairman of PDP in Taraba State. I'm talking about the Taraba State governor. He was the state chairman of PDP in Taraba State. He stayed there, he got the ticket as the governorship candidate of PDP, stayed there, won the election as the elected governor of Taraba State. He was still the PDP state chairman. He did not resign because the Constitution did not make such provision. And until he was sworn in, that was when he stepped aside. Even at that, by the Constitution, until you assume the office, so you don't even need to step aside. Immediately you assume a public office. Not when attempting to assume contest to a public office. So we need to make this clarification, because for political interest, some devils will come out and deceive Nigerians at the detriment of PDP. Look at the Constitution, misinterpreting the Constitution. He said the underlying word there is assume office. The question we are asking, who is the governor of Imo State? Is it Senator Inemeka Samuel Anyanwu? Of course, your guess is as good as ours. And that's why we are calling on the Taraba State governor specifically to speak out regarding this section. He was the state chairman of PDP, contested, won the primary, contested the governorship, won the election. He still remained the chairman, functioning as the state chairman. And that's why we said, let's read it. We don't just want to cite it. We want to read it so Nigerians will see it, Nigerians will know the truth, and not people that are being engaged to come and carry narrative, false narrative, against the party and its leadership. I've read this to clarify that. I'll continue with my reading. In October 2025, misinformed and misguided, misinformed by forged guidelines and the citing of mutilated section of the PDP Constitution and Enugu High Court led by Justice O.J. C.O. Aja ignorantly ruled, as I read, that an interim order is hereby granted as prayed. What was the prayer? We asked. The prayer was a motion on notice filed by Inwabweze Ogu urging the court to declare Anyanwu seat vacant due to his current position as the candidate in PDP's in the next month's governorship election in Imo State. I've read that section to clear that if it is based on that ground, then the court erred. But I'm taking us somewhere. If you look at it, we said based on the forged document, I want to show Nigerians. Please, it's high time, and that's why we say we will not be silent any further. We can't be silent. The only party we have today in this country, you and I will agree with me, that is PDP, and will not remain quiet for one individual or few, microscopic few, for their selfish interest to destroy the party. Look at our party guideline. The original party guideline, look at it. We want Nigerians to see the original party guidelines of PDP. And I want to show you the section Honorable Udo Okoye and his co-traveler mutilated just to remove Anyanwu through the back door in order to bring him back. Such a criminal offense and criminal-minded person to be the National Secretary of PDP, God forbid. We will not accept it. We have remained quiet for too long. And I want to read it, let Nigerians see it. And after this, we are going to petition to the IG for investigation because it's a criminal offense to mutilate the document of a party like PDP. Look at the section, General Provisions of the Constitution. I want to read the section. I read the section that was mutilated or forged or tampered by this young man called Udo Okoye to deceive the court and secured a judgment in order to remove Senator Nnemeka Samuel Anyanwu. The PDP Constitution, Congress Guideline, General Provision, page 36, it reads, subject to the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, any aspirant who is a civil servant or public servant shall resign from such office not later than 30 days before the date of the general election. Pursuant to Section 4812 of the Electoral Act 2022, any aspirant who is a political appointee shall resign his appointment before the purchase of expression of interest and nomination forms. Every member of the party who expresses interest to be nominated for a position shall appear before the respective screening committee with the following documents. It went further to state the document A, B, C, D, E, F. Then 3 said, any officer or member of the party who fails or refuses to neglect to carry out his or her duties in relation to these guidelines on the general conduct of the primary election who obstruct, flout, or in any manner hinders, impedes, or subvert the implementation or success of this guideline is guilty of gross misconduct and shall be brought before the National Disciplinary Committee of the party for disciplinary action. Now, look at what people can do. Is it that kind of person that want to be the leader, national secretary of the party? Is it that kind of person? Some evil people within the party calling themselves BOT chairman wants to produce for Nigerians. If at this stage you are being criminal-minded, what will happen if you get to public office? That is the question we are asking. And that's why we say we will not remain silent. We don't want criminals to lead our country. And we'll start it from our party. And that's why we are coming out to speak. Look at the doctored copy. And I'll make it available to the press. General provision, look at the design. Look at the difference. Look at the difference. I'll make copy available. Look at the difference. Now, general provision. Here if you see, it's part V11. That's here, part V1. In Ori, they mutilated it. Let me read what they did. 1, general provision. Subject to the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, any aspirant who is a civil servant or public servant shall resign from such office not later than 30 days before the date of the primary election. Pursuant to Section 8412 of the Electoral Act as amended 2022, any aspirant who is a political appointee shall resign his appointment before the purchase of expression of interest and nomination form. This is the heart-bleeding part I want to read to this nation. This is the heart-bleeding part I want to read to PDP faithful globally. That so-called person that is being fronted by enemies of PDP, mutilated. Listen carefully, please. Pursuant to Section 47(5) of the PDP Constitution, 2017 as amended, which mandatorily required resignation of any elected officer of the party vying for elective office. This is where devil took place. This is where evil took place. I've shown you and I've read it. There's nothing in this constitution. I've read this constitution back to back. Search it. There's nothing like that. Look at what somebody that also be the national secretary of PDP did. He did not end there. He went further to say, any aspirant who is a party office holder, executive committee member at any level, shall resign his or her office or appointment 7 days before the purchase of expression of interest form, and shall provide proof of resignation along with his or her completed AOI form before being allowed to procure the nomination form. Failure to adhere to this provision shall be grounds for automatic disqualification of such aspirant. My God, I ask, do people have conscience in this country? Look at what somebody in desperation. There's nothing like that in this section. Please open this. There's nothing like that in the constitution of the PDP. There's nothing like that in the guideline of the PDP. This is the PDP guideline. I was even sent for some of the states. I was given the guideline. There was nothing like this. They slot in this clause to secure fraudulently, secure a court judgment at the Enugu High Court. Went further to secure a judgment at the Enugu Division of the Appeal Court. Look at it. We are saying that by the time we petition the IG, they should go and bribe court officials to remove this document, because they will invite the judges. On what ground do they give that judgment? Because this is what, on this ground, that is what they give the judgment. Section 47.5 and Section 48.1. What kind of people do we have in our party that because of desperation to remove one person, you go to this extent to produce document, party document, mutilate it, present it in a court of law? By the time we go and write, we know already the IG has invited him to come and explain this mutilation, to come and explain why he tampered with this constitution, party guideline. We will not end it. We will take this matter very seriously. And it's so disappointing that the PDP disciplinary committee will busy invite other people. This is a gross misconduct that should deserve the attention of the BDP disciplinary committee. But they are paying blind eyes to it. That should attract the attention of the BOT. They are paying blind eyes to it. The BOT, as the constitution stated, is the conscience of the party. But we want to state it clearly. The BOT does not have conscience. The BDP BOT is no longer, PDP BOT is no longer the conscience of the party under the watch of the suspended Senator Adolfo Swabara. I'll continue reading. Furthermore, in December 20th, 2024, an appeal court of Enugu Division, misguided by the misinformed judgment of the lower court, upheld the High Court's ruling that Mr. Odokoye be recognized as the National Secretary of the PDP against Senator Samuel Emeka Anyanwu in a 2-1 ruling by Honorable Justice Rudwan Abdullahi. The court fined the appellant 1 million. Because there are some judges that take their time to peruse documents. And the dissenting voice there said no, even went as far as fining Udokoye them. Look at it. The appellate court, based on Section 47.5 and 48.1 of the PDP Constitution, which Honorable Sunday Udokoye mutilated, just like the High Court said, Senator Samuel Anyanwu's claim to the position after he contested and emerged as the PDP governorship election candidate in Imo State, violated party's constitution, and his appeal had no merit. Please, ladies and gentlemen of the press, permit me to read the above section for PDP faithfuls globally and Nigerians to know the real APC mode in PDP and the true enemies of PDP. I've read the section. You all saw when I read it. There was nothing like that. I said the underlining word is assume. And based on what is here, the judges based their judgment on Section 48.1, and Section 48.1 did not presume you to resign if you emerge as a candidate of PDP until you assume the office you are gunning for, which Senator Samuel Ayon was gunning for was the governorship of Imo State. But today, who is the governor? And that's why I want to repeat myself, to call on the Taraba State governor to speak out, because he's a beneficiary of this section of the party and should not remain silent if he truly loves PDP. Let me continue reading. However, the National Secretary, Senator S.N. Anyanwu, as a law-abiding leader of our great party, swiftly, in January 13, 2025, applied for a stay of execution of the judgment at the same appeal court in Abuja, and it was granted. The stay of execution of the judgment was granted by no less a judge than the president of the Court of Appeal, and she enjoined all parties to maintain status quo ante bellum, pending the hearing and determination of the motion on notice. In addition to that, he had already filed an appeal at the Supreme Court against the judgment too. Despite this legal clarity, self-serving action persists, with some even amongst senior advocates twisting the law to advance their paid interest. I want to say something clearly based on this paragraph 11 of this press conference. The judgment, the stay of execution, this is still when Senator Anyanwu filed for stay of execution. This is it. When he filed for stay of execution, after filing for stay of execution, this is the document to prove that he was granted stay of execution. Now, I just want to read one section and explain something about that. I just want to explain one section. It is hereby ordered that, number 2, accordingly, all parties are enjoined to maintain the status quo ante bellum pending the hearing and the determination of the motion of notice. The question is, what is ante bellum? The word there is a Latin word, means before the war. Let's assume, but not concede, that there was a war in PDP. Before the war, what time is before the war? That was before even Udokoye and Anyanwu went to court. That is the status quo. Before the party, the scramble for the position of the national secretary began, another synonym of ante bellum is pre. As an historian, we have what we call prehistory, history, and proto-history. So it's pre, before the war, before this crisis started. Who is the national secretary? The answer is clear. Senator Samuel Anyanwu is, as of 2003, before this crisis, this issue started, was the national secretary. So the court said it should remain there until the determination of the case at the Supreme Court. He filed also an appeal at the Supreme Court. This is the appeal. I want Nigerians to see it. Appeal at the Supreme Court. The question is that what do they want to achieve that they cannot be patient to wait for the Supreme Court to give judgment? The question is that why the haste to smuggle in Udokoye as the national this thing? The question we are asking is that why the haste? The case is in Supreme Court. Now, you are not only pushing for that. The court has said, wait, you refuse. You are galvanizing, going to one governor, the other, and one party leader and the other, trying to cause confusion in the party. Now, that's why we are calling out the suspended BOT chairman, that is the one behind this issue. I want to prove that something to Nigerians, that Senator Wabara is the worst BOT chairman we've ever had in the history of PDP. Look at the BDP attendance list. I want to show you something. That crisis that led to the BOT going to Transcorp Instinct in the first time in the history of PDP, that the BOT will hold meeting in a hotel under the watch of Senator Adolfo Swabra. Shamefully, we have a secretariat, we have Legacy House, because they have laid the foundation for the destruction of the party. But God forbid they will not succeed. We are assuring Adolfo Wabara, we are assuring his co-traveler that they will not succeed. Look at number 40. If you look at the list of BOT members and the attendees, number 40, you see National Secretary. 45, Senator Samuel Anyaume. This is the original attendance list of the last BOT meeting that was held at the PDP Secretariat. Look at the list. Senator Wabara, the suspended BOT chairman, came with. And that's why the crisis at the PDP Secretariat is the fault of Senator Wabara. We saw Udokoye boys jumping fence. Look at it. See what he did. National Secretary, Senator Samuel Inemeka Onyanwo. 45, 46, Right Honorable S.K. Udokoye made. Court. If you know that it's in court, why do you put his name? That was what gave him access to the venue of the Secretariat with his dogs to disrupt the sitting of the party, the BOT. And Section 58, subsection 1H, said anybody that indulge in violence, the sanction is there. We expected that by the fact that Udokoye came with talks to the vicinity of PDP, the BOT will ask him to get out. But shamefully, Senator Wabara asked him to come and sit down in the BOT meeting. That is to tell you, PDP BOT no longer, PDP have no BOT that has conscience. In addition to that, we want to say 70% of the BOT members, their tenure have expired. In addition to that, Senator Wabara, as the BOT chairman, has not galvanized up to 10 members to form a quorum in order to sit. We have 126 members of the BOT. To form a quorum, you need 75. Since he became the chairman, he has not galvanized up to 65. So we don't have a BOT that can give a binding advice, because their position is advisory to the party. And he formed a kangaroo committee, one-man committee. And the committee came up and said, Udokoye is the national secretary. And when we look at the report, I read it, I have it here. And when I look at the report, I laughed. I said, this is absolute rubbish. But the national legal advisor supported it, because the national legal advisor was a subordinate to to distinguish one of our leaders that was made the committee chairman, Senator Turaki. Ajibade was working with Turaki in Kano, so he could not look his boss face to face. He doesn't have the balls to tell his boss that this is wrong. He will accept it outside the camera. In front of the camera, he will deny it. Is that the kind of people who want to allow to produce people that will save this country? For crying out loud, no. Why can't you tell your boss, no, this is wrong? Because you worked in his chambers in Kano. You can't tell him, look at him and his face and tell him the truth. And that is why we said, no, we will not keep silence. And the unfortunate thing, look at it. Senator Wabara is a product of a stay of execution. In 2003, Senator Wabara, rightly or wrongly, failed the Abia South senatorial election. And he saw that he has been earmarked for Senate presidency. He rushed and left the court, the tribunal in Abia, and came to Abuja. Look at it, one Justice Wilson Egbo. Within 3 days, Senator Wabara secured, I don't want to use the word procure, 2 stay of execution. First one made him senator. That was what brought him to the Senate second time. And the second one made him the Senate president. The order was served to INEC on the 2nd of June 2003 by 4:30 p.m. This is the same person who see state of execution and we ignore it. That is a product. His presidency is a product of state of execution. His second tenure as senator is a product of state of execution. What kind of people do we have as leaders in our party? It has become worrisome. And that's why we say we will not silent no more. We will speak out against it. And that is why we are here. To say that Senator Wabara is a misfit for the position of the BOT. Honorable Dokoe is a misfit for the position of the National Secretary. And we are calling on those governors. From the South-South, one governor. From the Southwest, one governor. From the Northeast, one governor. And from the Southeast, one governor. That is encouraging this criminality to stop it henceforth. The PDP belongs to the people, not any governor. We respect our governors, but we tell them the truth. The PDP is owned by the people. Don't support evil. Tomorrow you will leave that seat. You might be a victim of this same thing you are encouraging. You may be a victim. And that's why we are calling on them to desist from pushing. Let the Supreme Court decide. For now, there is state of execution. Let the Supreme Court, if the Supreme Court says, as Samuel Lion says, it says, if the Supreme Court said, Anya will go, Udokoe come, then we know that is the law has spoken. Let me round up by saying, let me round up by reading this. But it is so shameful, embarrassing, and that Senator Samuel co-travelers will want to sweep over all these atrocities and criminalities committed by Sunday Ndokoye under the carpet. The conscience of the PDP BOT under Senator Wabara is dead, and the BOT is without a conscience, and since he emerged, has not been able to galvanize to third, which invalidated all their sitting since he started presiding, and almost presiding, and also of the BOT members' tenure, as almost all the BOT members' tenure has expired. We therefore urge all PDP faithfuls that are ignorantly supporting an illegality and disaster of Honorable Sunday Udokoye as National Secretary to stop forthwith and retract their step. We commend the disposition of the National Chairman and National Secretary and the mature manner in which they handle the affairs of the party in this trying time. Nobody can destroy or destabilize PDP. We insist that Senator Samuel Enemeka Anyanwu remains the authentic PDP National Secretary in line with the party constitution and other existing laws of the land. Thank you. Long live PDP. Long live Nigeria. I can take like 2-3 questions before we round up, please. Thank you.
You've been watching a live program taking place in Abuja, where the concerned PDP League, one of the vested groups in Nigeria's main opposition party, has been holding a world press conference titled Silent No More, putting the record straight on the issue of the party's national secretary and related matters. The League criticized the PDP's Board of Trustees' decision to recognize the new national secretary, Sunday Udokoye, while giving allegedly false narratives that Senator Samuel Anyanwu resigned from his position as the national secretary of the party before the BOT took its decision. They claim there is a subsisting court order prohibiting the removal of Senator Anyanwu as the national secretary.
2 days ago, he has stated clearly that the PDP has not held NWC meeting for some time. And I want to say that Debo has not entered the secretariat for almost a month. He's staying in his house, dishing out falsehood to Nigerians. It's the worst MPS we've ever had. You people are in the media, you know the truth. The worst. Coming out to say things that are not true. Because based on the Constitution, you cannot carry your own opinion and use the party name to put it in the media. That is what Debo is doing. And to prove that, the national chairman, in performing of his function, in section 35, subsection 1E, the other time, asked the Deputy National Publicity Secretary to counter the statement of the MPS. That That is to show that the MPS has failed beyond our imagination and expectation. So there is no doubt about that. So whatever comes from him, as we speak today, is invalid. We don't take it as anything. Because if the NWC does not sit for sensitive matters, let me give you the case of Rivers State. The court never said to say they have accepted the court verdict. There was no committee. No time the NWC sat to recognize a caretaker committee because there was no caretaker committee appointed, but he made a statement. So it's a failed this thing that has not even been able to come because of the shame to come to the secretariat. Just like his co-traveler Ogoshieri, that they have engaged in services to come and be carrying wrong and lies, peddling lies against the party national leadership. I dare Ogoshieri, if he said, yes, he's a man, he should come and let's do debate on live TV. The other time he came and lied that the national chairman was the one that caused PDP to lose in the southeast. Meanwhile, Ambassador Damagu became the acting chairman after the general election, March 28. So how will you take such a bloody liar that is stuck in trade, is lying, to be serious? I dare him. If he's hearing me, I dare him. He should come and let me prove some of this thing. I don't want to prove it on national TV. He's a big liar and a propagandist. The governor of Rivers State has been alleged to procure his services. That's why he's doing all this rubbish. Have you ever heard Ogochie speak about the suffering of PDP local government chairman under the governorship of Okpobolo in Edo State? Have you heard Ogochie speak about what is happening in Imo State? Only Rivers State. Ask yourself why. That is what we should. This is the time we will not be silent anymore. And we expose those contractors in PDP. Who is Ogochie? An infant in PDP. Joined PDP 2022. And they gave him ticket. It's an infant. What some of us has invested in PDP, Ogochie has not even, if it's closed his eye, he has not neared anything. So why are we looking at people coming to destroy party we have invested in? He just joined the party. Same thing with Debo from Zenith Labour Party. Ogochie from APP that is sold to Rivers State governor using this thing. And today is coming to speak about PDP. Who is he in PDP? Because PDP gave him platform to be in House of Rep. That makes him to be calling PDP leaders criminal. He's a truculent, supercilious, snogasta politician. So he cannot come and speak on that PD, or talk about our leaders in that manner. Destroying the party we have all sweated for. So Debo is an unfortunate person to be our MPS at this critical time. That is what the response I'll give to your question. Thank you very much, sir. I want to permit me to thank the media for all they are doing for our great country and our great party, the People's Democratic Party. I want to use this forum to let our party members in diaspora in Nigeria know that the party is doing very well. As a family, we have our family challenges, which I call interest wrangling within the party, but we'll very soon overcome it, and PDP is the only party, as I said in the beginning of my speech, that we have in Nigeria. And I want to urge Nigerians and all our party faithful to keep faith with the party and with the Ambassador Umar Ilia-led PDP National Working Committee and Senator Thank you very much, Nigerians and PDP faithful.